God, thank you. Thank you so much for the ways that you show up for us and for the world. Thank you for this place, for Living Waters, and for all the ways you've led us through almost 21 years now. Thank you especially, God, for the last couple of weeks. Thank you for that experience in Milwaukee. As students reflect, as we are able to share just stories and moments, help us all to just give praise to you, and help us to share just the very best of what you want us to reveal to others to see just how much you showed up and continue to. In your name we pray, and all God's people said, amen. So behind me beforehand, for those of you online or in person, you saw some of the pictures. There are so many more. And some of the students said those were less than flattering for them. That's why we put them in there. You're welcome, girls. So I want to just give you a little bit, before we move into a few of the stories and memories and things, I want to tell you just a little bit of the structure. So, for those of you who don't know, we actually went through an organization that's been doing this for decades. Their name is YouthWorks, and they're an organization that's based out of Minneapolis, and what they do, they set up all of these different sites in the U.S. and in other countries as well, and what they do is they train and hire mostly college students that are the staff there throughout the summer. They're trained, and they have partnerships with different organizations that make an impact in those communities. And then, depending on the week, our church then connects with other churches that serve in that particular time. You never know what you're going to get. You could get other Lutherans, you could get Baptist, Catholic. It is just across the denominations. We had one church. I have never had a YouthWorks trip where it was just one other church, so it was just two of us. This church happened to be from New London, Wisconsin, so I think, what did it take them, 90 minutes to get back? It was something crazy. We were like, what? In fact, the pastor, who, yes, ladies, Fremont, which is right next to New London, sorry. The pastor, whose name is Pastor Mark, not Pastor Dave, Pastor Mark, he texted us a message. It was a little over an hour after we left Milwaukee, and we're like, you gotta be, him home at the church. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. Something that really made it personal for us, though. That church happens to be about 15 minutes from Menasha. And for those of you who know Menasha, that's the one that was devastated by the tornadoes while we were there. And so while we were there, just an hour and a half from Milwaukee, people lost their homes and livelihoods and their keepsakes. And one of the organizations, as I've been saying, they would split us out throughout the day. Okay, so in the morning, we wake up, and some of these kids, this will shock all of you, they got up, maybe not willingly, but they did. And the first thing we would gear up, and we'd either do cleanup or we would cook breakfast and serve it for each other. They did that. We would spend time then after breakfast in devotions. The same series that we're going made for this, each week we're focusing on one. That was one day during the trip. And so they'd dive into their Bibles. We'd spend time with God. They'd write things down. They would highlight and circle things in their Bible. Spend time with God. Then we'd go off to our different work sites. So I want to show you some of the work sites. That is my favorite picture of all time, just because of Emmett in the front of all of us. But Ted, I'm wondering if you can bring up the list of all the organizations. 15 of them. Those are all the organizations that we split off into different groups. Sometimes it was just for a morning. Some of the groups got to be in the St. Anne's Center throughout the week. It was beautiful. But all these organizations are doing this every day. And here's the gift of a place like youth, or an organization like YouthWorks. They help us. They've connected with them already. They've trained their staff so that we as a church, adult leaders and students, can just go and serve. That's amazing. But one of those, as you can see, is Feeding America. It's on the very top. Feeding America, my group happened to go for 2 different shifts. And we packed it's a meal packing. People donate meals and water and pet supplies and all kinds of things. And then our job is to find out what is safe and good, pack them in boxes, and it goes off to different parts of the world. Our 2 shifts, they happen to go directly to Menasha. And as I said, the other church had people that had family and friends that lived in Menasha. And so they were literally crying while they were packing food because they knew it was going to people that they care about, or if they don't know, they're connected with. It made it so much more personal. We, in just our 3 hours, I think, total in those 2 different shifts, packed about almost 9,000 pounds of food that went directly in the next 24 hours to Menasha. That's just one moment. One beautiful thing of what God's been doing, not just for people that are remote and we don't know. No, we're connected. And I love that about that. So we served, and again, these are all the different places. You'll be seeing pics and hearing from the students, especially in the video that Austin and Ashley made for us, them talking about their experiences. It's mind-blowing to hear what they were a part of. So I'm thankful for that. But I just wanted you to see all the organizations that we were a part of, okay? So we would serve. Then we would come back, and we would go back to the church that we were staying in inner city Milwaukee, and then we'd have a little bit of free time. Then the leaders actually cooked dinner, and then we'd go off to a Catholic girls' school, to shower, because there weren't even showers in that place. And then we would have some free time and see the sights. Every night we saw a different place in Milwaukee and got to just have some fun. And then at night we would come to church time. And what would I ask you each night? Where did you see God today? You know what's fun? I think I've tricked them to start to look for God not just in those times, but every time they would share something, and then we would pray together, and then have maybe a couple more minutes, and then lights out. And the next morning, we'd get up 6:30 or 7 every day till about 10:30 at night or a little later every day. That was a little piece of it. But what I want to share is where we saw God, the impact that we saw. You're going to hear from the kids directly in the videos. But I want our leaders, first of all, I want to thank them, Austin and Ashley Bond, Lindsay Schneider. If all 3 of you can stand, look at these people so people online can also see you. Don't let their looks fool you. They're awesome. Okay, no, they are amazing just like they look. I'm so thankful for each one of you. You made it such a unique, beautiful, amazing time. But I've been wondering if you can come up here, each of you, and I want you to talk about just one thing, a memory or something with a student or another organization that you saw such an impact, something that really connected you.
Can we hear
And
me?
introduce yourself, because not everyone will know who you are.
All right, I'm Austin. First off, I want to say thank you to the parents for allowing us to be responsible for them for a week. They did amazing. The biggest thing that I saw that I really, really enjoyed was start to finish seeing the change from when we asked the question, "Where'd you see God?" to no one saying absolutely anything and looking at each other and saying, "I don't know what to say, you go first," to them almost fighting over who gets to say what first and everyone's hand going up. So the impact that not only the leaders of YouthWorks had on these students to the impact that the students had on themselves was tremendous. So as a leader, that makes me feel like I'm already going to go next year. I've already decided that I don't care where we go. As long as students are with us, I think it's going to be fun. And the other part that I think was one of my favorites was Guest House. That was one of the first stops that our group went on. It's the men's shelter in Milwaukee, and it's specifically for men trying to get back on their feet. What they noticed is that men don't have a lot of the same things as women and children do in Milwaukee, and so they wanted to open up something that allowed them to have a spot to stay short term and hopefully get them back on their feet. So they gave them a ton of resources, and they have a order window. I think it was like over 1,000 sandwiches a day or something like that they would hand out. They have a warming booth, so they have an area that they're turning into a warming shelter as well. So people can come in. I think it can house an extra 60 people in that area, which is kind of awesome, and showing a lot of support for the local community there. So I'll hand it off to my wife.
I'm Ashley. I think for me, my prayer over this trip as a leader was transformation. And so that was the word I just prayed every morning, just that in myself I could see transformation, in the city I could see transformation, but mostly that I could see transformation in the youth that got to come on this adventure with us. And I think by the end of the week, God really moved through that, and he shaped their hearts in just really, really special ways. And I could tell you individually how God moved in their hearts and what I saw when I came back. But to summarize just what we saw is at the beginning, when you do all the fun things at the beginning, their favorite part of the day is the water park and all the adventures we got to go to and the little side trip to the zoo. But then at the end of the week, when we sat and asked them, what's your favorite part? They didn't talk about those things. They actually talked about the relationships that were made with strangers they met throughout the week, the work that they got to put in, and Emmett and how many weeds he pulled throughout the week. He was the champion. But I think just the way that God showed them new things on this trip, for sure.
Yeah, so echoing everything that they just said. Yeah, your students, I said this last year, but like your students are amazing, and the way that they have bonded over this trip was so, so special to see. I think in church time as well, like we would, talk about a Bible verse. They would point out what like stood out to them, and that really like opened my eyes to like how invested these students are in their faith and how much they are growing and how much they grew throughout the week. Just hearing them talk about the verses that we talked about was beautiful. My group was the one that went to St. Anne's for the whole week. We went to 2 different campuses. I would say the first campus was in a nicer area, more secluded. We got to hang out with little kids, which is always a little bit more comfortable than maybe hanging out with adults. But there were also adults with disabilities that we hung out with. The second half of the trip we went on was another campus in a little rougher part of town. It was definitely a little bit uncomfortable and nerve-wracking walking in, being in there sometimes. And I think all of the students that were with me were uncomfortable for a lot of that. But by the end of it, I think the coolest thing was like that was one of their favorite places. The growth and like the relationships that they built with the adults there was just beautiful. And yeah, it was just really cool to see.
Thank you to all 3 of you. Can we give them a hand? Because they gave so much of themselves. Thank you. Okay, I want to turn this over. First of all, we have a video that was put together. So throughout the week, each of the students actually were pulled aside by our leaders to talk about what they were seeing. It's so meaningful and personal. We'll get to hear them like literally as they were doing it. So it has some of these pics and other ones and videos to just capture a little bit in their own words. And this is also live streamed, so for those of you online, thank you, on Facebook and on our YouTube page, our YouTube channel. But you can access this later as well if you'd like to see it. We'll put the video out as its own thing as well. Let's watch that together.
So we're struggling.
My favorite service site was the forest because it was fun, cutting down trees and seeing deer.
Grant Park because we got to chop down a bunch of invasive species trees.
My favorite service site was the farm area that gave the food that they grew away for free.
I saw God in how welcoming the people at the church in Wisconsin Dells were, because you could tell the leader of the band was rushing, getting ready for church service, but he took time to get our names and personally greet all of us there.
Where I saw God was on the last night when we were all swaying.
I saw God this week while we were singing and worshiping with my friends and the new people that I met.
I saw God this week when I saw how much the people needed us.
I saw God this week when we were making bracelets because the main lady was really grateful that we were there and she said we were sent from heaven.
I saw God in the way a resident at St. Anne's was so excited to show everyone the weeds that we pulled and the chalk art we did.
How I saw God was in all the weeds I pulled. What he challenged me with the most was the intense heat. This trip has let me see God in more places.
I mostly saw God in the people we met, like Deborah. She was so happy and full of life and loved doing chalk with us and showing it off to other people around.
This trip changed me in the way that I'm not judging a book by its cover, because it was really hard to see some of these people in these situations, and it's hard not to judge right away, but it taught me to just take a step back and really learn about someone and not be so quick to judge. I would also like to do more work in the community and do some of the jobs that most people are not as willing to do. And I'm not going into something like, this is what I'm going to do, and going into it like asking what I can do. God challenged me in being able to be away from my family because I've never been away from my family that long before.
How God challenged me this week was just doing things that were new to me and hard. And how I think this trip has changed me is, I think this trip brought me closer to God. How I would like to continue that at home is remembering to pray more than just at church.
Not to judge somebody by their looks.
I think this trip changed me because I'm more open to helping around the community and I just connected with lots of new people.
This trip helped me get closer to God and doing devotions every morning.
God challenged me by encouraging me to do stuff I wouldn't normally do out of the urge that someone had to do it. This trip showed me how hard I can work when I'm determined to get things done. And I would like to continue to use my hard-working skills for other projects and chores.
I think Lindsay made a huge impact because she was so helpful and caring throughout the whole trip and always made sure we felt comfortable while interacting with new people. She was always making sure we understood what we were talking about during small group.
Austin and Ashley made an impact on me because they were my group leaders, and when I was struggling, they would help me with whatever I needed.
Jesse impacted me by being so friendly that it felt like I was talking to someone I had been friends with for a while.
And the person who made an impact on me was Jesse because he just asked so much questions and was full of energy.
Somebody who made the most impact on me would be all the directors and teachers at St. Anne's because of how grateful they were to have us, and they really show me how much I can make an impact.
This man we met at St. Anne's named Scotty. I sat outside and talked to him, and he just told me his story basically. And despite everything he had been through, he was still cracking jokes and so happy about it and still being able to laugh.
Who made an impact on me? Obviously God.
Funny moment was when Dan would have energy drinks every day, and after he was over the top loud and energized for a good hour at least.
A funny moment was Dan singing in the car and yelling cows whenever he saw some cows, and also when there was a traffic jam and Dan took a picture of the speed limit, which we were going 0.
Funny moment from this week was when all of our luggage fell out of the trunk as we were getting onto the highway.
I have 2 funny moments, and the first one was with Scotty again. We were playing pool and we were laughing because he had just said something funny. And I said, "You're so funny," and he goes, "Yeah, I know I am." The second one was with Scotty's best friend, and he asked Lindsay if he could hold her arm, and he was like showing his friends that he was holding her arm, and he was calling her Bae.
Austin calling Rick Randy on the phone.
A funny moment from the trip was when everyone in the church was swaying except for me, but then Emmett forced me into it.
Funny moment was forcing Aiden to sway with the music.
A funny moment is, it was last night and most of us were crying, and Emmett and Aiden were just watching us while drinking their lemonade.
This week taught me to be more grateful for what I have.
This week showed me that you can go through something really hard and still make it through. You can still be happy, and Scotty taught me and showed me that through how he just lives his life.
This week has changed me because I think it's made me more compassionate and shown me that even if someone can't do the same things as me, it doesn't mean they don't have their own abilities and skills.
God taught me to love everyone, including my enemies.
This week taught me that I love to help people in need.
This week taught me that everyone is equal and that helping others in the community will bring joy to you and others that help you.
This week taught me how much I love helping people with disabilities and hanging out with them. I also learned so much about God, and this week showed me how much I've grown closer to Him and how much I've grown in my faith.
This week taught me to look for God in everyday life and to be more aware of the problems in our community and the ways we can fix it.
I want to share one last thing. Many don't know this about this trip, but throughout the week, from Sunday night till Friday morning. There's so many lives that we get to be a part of, and we just get snippets of it. What they don't know, if they're new to it, is the last night. And on that Thursday night, we gather as a church like we always do. I ask them, where'd you see God? Like I always did. We pray together like we always do. But then it's a little different that last night. Our leaders, the staff from YouthWorks, they read from the Gospel of John where Jesus washes the disciples' feet and tells them to love each other. Then the leaders come and wash our feet as adults, and they pray individually for us, like things they saw, things that they had like God placing on their hearts for each one of us. And then we as leaders wash their feet and pray for them. It is the most humbling, amazing, incredible experience, and it's one that I can't even define. But something happened that night that I've never experienced in almost 20 of these things. I was caught off guard by the amount of emotion. There always is. Because have you ever had someone really pray for you, like right there with you, and say things about you that maybe you wondered if anyone sees, and then wondering if God's part of that? That emotion that night caught me off guard because they're so connected. When you see them swaying, and even Emmett trying to include Hayden, that happened spontaneously every single night, that connection. And I truly think it was God connecting us. But as we prayed for them, it was such an honor to be able to do that. And I think it really, I don't know, just helped a new sense of faith. And I was so humbled to be a part of that. But I know a lot of you as families and supporters just don't know that that is a part of it and that happened with them as well. I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for each one of you. And I'm grateful for all of your support in the ways that you have as family and friends and as a church. One last thing I want to do. Students, come on up. I know. It's like, what are they going to do? Now I want you to sway and sing. No, I'm just kidding. Aiden, you ready? Okay. Literally every night. Okay, what I really want to do is thank each one of you. Because honestly, where did I see God? It was through each one of you the most. Proud of you, thankful for you. And I pray that those experiences that you continue to reflect, parents, keep asking them what they did. If you saw a picture or something else, keep pressing them on that. Because this is lifetime change, and you made that possible. Can we give each one of our students a hand tonight? Can we? With that, I want to say one last thank you to all of you for making it possible. Your prayers, your financial support, being a part of their lives in whatever way it is. We're so grateful for that. So one more round of hand for each one of you. Thanks for being here again. We hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. Go in peace, serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.